I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The more you talk, the harder I want to hit you.
I'm happy because of being here today. Fuck you.
Come on, you want me to drive? You're supposed to be suicidal, remember? I'll
Anybody
drive.
a drive?
Get in the car.
Fucking shit. Fuck me in the fucking ass. Fuck you, you fucking stupid cunt.
Hey, it's Donji Corleone here, and I said hey like that because I know exactly, remembering what I'm going to be ranting on next. Because I'm here with a brand new rant, and this rant is going to be for the 2004 Dreamworks animation film, Shark Goddamn Fucking Tale. Easily what many regard, including myself, the top number one worst film from Dreamworks Animation. Yeah. So, what is the plot of Shark Tale? So, it's basically an animated fish version of a mafia film. So, the sea underworld is shaken up when the son of a shark mob boss named Don Lino, who was played by Robert De Niro, is found dead. This young asshole fish, played by Will Smith, named Oscar, is found at the scene, and because Oscar's such a great person, not at all. When you first meet him, he's not even a remotely good person at all. I meant that sarcastically. His idea, because he dreams about going up to the top of the reef, is to take advantage of the situation and make himself look like he killed a Finn mobster and call himself the Shark Slayer. But Oscar, not thinking things through, comes to realize his claim is going to have serious consequences. And they do. So, as for my reaction, the day has come to now review the number one worst Dreamworks animation film that's ever been done. And you want to know what's sadder? This came out. This was the next film Dreamworks did after their massive success with Shrek 2. After that film, this is what they did. And 2004 had many great films. There was Spider-Man 2, there was Saw, there was The Incredibles, there was $1 Million Baby, there was a SpongeBob movie, there was Polar Express. Lots of great films to come out that year. Loads. This was among the many worst to come out that year, easily. And somehow, this made over $374 million worldwide. And another worse thing, this apparently got nominated for Best Animated Feature. This over either Polar Express or SpongeBob. This got the nomination over either of those. Just why? What was so best animated about this that was so worthy of that nomination? I'll get to that stuff later, but how was this film made? Well, this began production in 2002 and was going to be called Shark Slayer, and Vicky Jensen and Bill Bergen were directing for the screenplay by Michael J. Wilson and Mark Swift and Damian Shannon, and they conceived the film's story, and by September 2003, they retitled it to Shark Tale because they wanted it to sound less violent and more family-friendly. Yeah, this film honestly, this film still feels not family-friendly, even with the changed title. And Bill DeMash, the producer, explained the titles that they wanted to make a movie that was more noir and a little darker than what we've landed, and he didn't make it any more lighthearted regardless. So, Shark Tale was the first all-computer animated film produced by the Glendale facility. They had previously animated the hand-drawn animated movies, and of course, it was their first computer animated film to not be produced by Pacific Data Images. And originally, when it came to Don Lino, James Gandolfini was going to voice the character, but then dropped out, and Robert De Niro took over. And it was produced concurrently with Finding Nemo, because remember, guys, Finding Nemo came out the year before this. That was a critical success. That was a commercial success. So, of course, Dreamworks was a big rival of Disney, so of course they decided to copy success with this. By making this an underwater movie too. And the CEO, Jeffrey Katzenberg, defended the film, and that any similarities were a coincidence. They were open with the Pixar people, so they apparently didn't step on their toes. Which you might as well did, here's the thing. If you could literally make this a normal human character animated film and you would miss nothing. Because this film does not feel like it takes place underwater. And honestly, this whole underwater city is honestly not even creative. That's why you could, sometimes, to a point where it just feels like the fish are on land. And I'll explain more about that stuff later, but after the film was shot and marketed, Shark Tale would premiere at the Venice Film Festival on September 2004, and was released in the United States on October 1st, 2004. It made money despite the bad reviews. It still got nominated despite the bad reviews. So yeah, despite the bad reviews, it still made quite a bit of money. But they didn't make a sequel. I'm surprised they didn't. With the money this made, I'm surprised they didn't try to make another one. But I'm glad they didn't. Because this was bad enough, we don't want a sequel. So, here are all the bad qualities in the story of Shark Tale. So, Shark Tale has a generic message. It's okay to be who you are. That's been done to death in a lot of films. And this movie especially, it's one of the most uneven ways of doing it. You have this all-star cast that's let down by this script, that's obvious, soon to date, unfunny, direction that hammers every point. The only times the movie works are whenever either De Niro or Scorsese are on screen together. It was definitely nice to see that. It was actually nice to see these two act in a film together, I'll admit that, but the first time you see Scorsese act in a film with Robert De Niro, one of his best friends, it's gotta be this shitty animated film. Instead of an actually, good original noir film, I would have rather saw a film about these two, and not a film about our asshole Will Smith character. These two were the most likable characters of the film. Robert De Niro's character is supposed to be the bad guy, but yeah, honestly, he feels like a much more likable character than Will Smith's character did. And I actually had somewhat better intentions than Will's character did at all. Really. Doesn't really come off as that much of a threat. Yeah, he's a mobster, but still. I wish we had a film about these two on screen more. Maybe the film would actually be better. And no, the animation looks horrifying. The only time it doesn't look horrifying is on the sharks. The sharks look fine. The problem I have with the animation, the fish. You want to know how these fish look? These are basically fish that look like the actors' faces stapled on them. To the point where it looks haunting to look at. Will's character has pretty much Will's face plastered on a fish. Angelina Jolie's character has Angelina Jolie's face plastered on a fish. Renee Zellweger's character has Renee Zellweger's face plastered on a fish. Literally, this is why I even say that, maybe you could have just made this a normal human animated film and you would not miss a thing. Because this doesn't even feel like it takes place underwater. The only reason it takes place underwater is because DreamWorks wanted to copy Finding Nemo's success. They saw Finding Nemo's success, so they decided this was going to be underwater. Because they wanted to copy that movie. And Finding Nemo is actually a good animated film unlike this. This film, you can see why this is regarded as DreamWorks' low point in quality, from the story being lazy and predictable, the characters being stereotypes, main character being an unlikable piece of shit, and tons of pop culture references that are cringeworthy, Katie Couric, or the Starfish map, Muscle Crow, Jessica Simpson, wanting to be a SEAL, or get out those shell phones, call to the boss. Like, so many just stupid underwater puns, or Kelpie creams, or Coca-Cola, or Gup. Like, this whole idea of this underwater city is not even creative. Like, oh god. You get one joke at the beginning of the film where there's this one fish that has no business because he's running a sushi restaurant. Yeah, get it? Sushi's fish. Get it? He's running a cannibal joint. Course. So why do we have that in an underwater world? Is that supposed to be funny or something? Because it really wasn't. Oh my god. You want to know why Finding Nemo is better in this film? Finding Nemo was a story about this one clownfish who was traumatized from losing his wife and his kids. It got spared one kid, but that kid suffered a broken fin. And he vowed he was never going to let one bad thing happen to the kid he had left. I was going to take care of him, and that kid would end up being Nemo. Then Nemo got himself kidnapped, and so Marlin had to go all across the sea to save him. Teamed up with this fish that's voiced by Ellen DeGeneres. Well, yeah. Who I'm not a fan of as a person, but I can tolerate her in this. Because I actually don't mind her character. But the point is, these two fishes had better on-screen chemistry with one another in that whole entire film, where pretty much where Marlin had to kind of let go of his PTSD and in a way to be able to find his son again, search an entire ocean, and the characters were great in that film. The good voice acting was great in that film. That film felt real. That's why it was a huge hit. And that's why everyone loved it, and why everyone regards it one of the best films of all time. Here it's like, Jeffries saw the success of that and decided, I need to make my version of Finding Nemo to compete with them. Because remember, Dreamworks was rivals with Disney. And they made this. And this became one of DreamWorks' worst animated films. But it didn't stop it from making money, though. But it didn't even come close to Finding Nemo's box office. And somehow this got nominated. Thankfully it didn't win, but I don't know why. Like, there were plenty of better animated films that could have been nominated over this. So, how do we start off Shark Tale? So, we start off the film with the Dreamworks guy being a part of the film. He casts this worm into the ocean that's apparently below the Dreamworks guy. And we meet Jack Black's character, who has who I don't mind this character, but I would probably like this character better if his voice wasn't so annoying. But he frees the worm, his brother berates him for that, and then and his brother is even humming the Jaws theme, and Jack Black's character's telling him to stop, like, but it's our theme song. But then, of course, everyone comes out of their homes now that the whole sharks are all gone. And then we meet our asshole main character, played by Will Smith, named Oscar. Oscar's this lonely Blue Street cleaner who, when we saw as a kid, like, apparently the reason why we were supposed to suddenly like this guy is because his dad was a whale washer, and he fantasized being a whale washer, and he got made fun of. But then he got made fun of for that role, and now he wants to be all rich and famous. He works at that wash his whole life, and he has one friend that's played by Renee Zellweger, who, yeah, like this was the first of two bad DreamWorks films Renee Zellweger played in. Two of them. I already reviewed the one that came after this, but this was the one she did before that one. As also another love interest, where this time around unlike her character in B-Movie, her character is not really an asshole per se, like her character in B-Movie was, but was just not that interesting of a character either. There wasn't much development about her, like, it just came off as too much of a simp, and actually was more of an idiot, because when she, like, berates him for his lie near the finale of the film, like, it comes off as just how she loved him for the asshole he already was even before the lie. This guy was never good. This guy was already an asshole long before the lie even happened. Like, he shows up late for work, but his character already punched him in, so he doesn't get in trouble for that, and It's supposed to be where this guy's supposed to be this outcast, but when he gets to work, like, seriously, like, there's quite a few workers at that place that like him. So what's the point of him suddenly being this character that just wants to be noticed? Like, he already seems like he gets a lot of attention at work. So what's the deal? But then, this whole prank then goes wrong. When this whale burps, he throws the slime at one other worker, and then it causes soap and knife for the whale. Then these two racist stereotype jellyfish, that one of them's played by Bob Marley's son, they bring him to the office of Martin Scorsese's character, who is one of the few characters I like in the film. Probably the only fish character I like in the film. I think of all the fishes, like, this, because for one, this guy looks the least creepy. This guy actually makes sense. This guy actually has good intentions, to be fair. And actually is kind of right, and it's definitely kind of right to kind of call Will Smith's character in this next scene, like, and be annoyed with him, like, because we find out, like, apparently, like, this character, our main character, borrows money from him for get-rich-quick schemes that have never worked. And then we find out this character's associated with Robert De Niro's character, and this is, like, one of the few times where the movie tries to get a chuckle out of me, because I did like seeing these two on screen together. These two work together a lot of times. These two always work together in a lot of their films. Like these two are good, especially because these two are friends in real life, and it was definitely nice to see them act in a scene together. You know, I wish we had more scenes like that in the film. And he's telling that his son, that's Jack Black's character, is not really a killer. And when he keeps saying that, then Don Lino fires him, tells him that he's going to pay money or he's going to attack the place he works at. So once he gets back, he then, because he clearly remembers that, like, all the money Oscar borrowed from him. So he shows all the notes that Oscar owes him all the money. And then, of course, he whips out the food chain list, and I guess this was the one funny bit also of the film, and there's me, there's rocks, there's regular fish, not getting there, there's rocks, there's whale crap, and then there's you. Like, and it shows Oscar all the way at the bottom, like, and you can see why, considering how much of a moron this guy is, you can see why he's all the way at the bottom of the list. And then whenever this character, Sykes, puffs up, or Martin Scorsese's character puffs up, it sounds all high-pitched, which that was another funny gag, I will admit that. And so, he tells him to get that money to get the $5,000 that he owes him for this, and lets the jellyfish pretty much state him in the eye as a warning, and you think Oscar would actually listen to this warning seriously, but no, we find, not later, but like he's telling Renee Zellweger his backstory about his time as a kid and how he wants to be the top of the reef. And of course, hearing that he owes this money, she gives him this pearl that's from her dead grandma to pawn off and pay his debt. And like, honestly though, I get you're his friend and all, but you think you're gonna considering all the get-rich-quick schemes this guy does, why would you trust that this guy's not going to fuck up his chance at this rate? Like, don't you think you would have wised up and of course, like, give a guy like this, somebody that's from your dead relative? Just why? Like, how do you, like, of course, like, he's going to do something stupid that loses the money. Look, not an accident, like an asshole move that loses the money. Like, I'm getting to that part later. Like, oh my God. But it gets him the money he needs to pay it off, and you'd think that he would pay it off right away as soon as he brings it to the Seahorse race for Sykes. As Sykes wanted to bring it to the Seahorse race, which also, I guess, is another stupid move of Scorsese's character, because even Scorsese's character should know that that's going to end up being a fuck-up if he has to bring it to a race where lots of people bet, and lots of people will think about their dreams of being rich. Like, you should have just, how about, I don't know, just have him bring that money to the office, right, at first thing in the morning, and not bring it to a race where he can lose it easy, or somebody could steal it. How about just do that? Like, just, how about just have him put that 5 G's in your office, on your desk? You know, like, maybe that would be better, and then you wouldn't have lost that money. But because Oscar's too stupid to really think of his second chance. He blows his second chance because he bets the money that he got from the dead relative's pawn pearl on a racehorse. As soon as he hears these two fish talk about how this race is rigged for this horse named Lucky Day, he decides to bet it all, and apparently it's going to pay $1 million G's. And then this gets him the attraction of this gold digger played by Angelina Jolie named Lola. And this is where our film is starting off. And yeah, this is already off to a great start. We already have an asshole character that makes dumb decisions after another, borrows money from his boss, never pays him back, and now owes 5 G's. And when he gets 5 G's, fucks up that second chance, bets it on a racehorse. This is a good character. And also complains about how he doesn't get rich and famous in his life, despite the fact that he clearly gets a lot of attention at work, so we're supposed to like this fucking character. Yeah. I already like this character? No, I already want this character dead. Yeah. This is why I hate Oscar the most of all Dreamworks' main characters, and consider him one of Dreamworks' worst protagonists of all time. And whenever you do try to have emotional moments, they're just poorly done, especially with the ending, because your lead is not only incredibly unlikable, but he doesn't get a much emotional moment because he doesn't go through any arc and doesn't get punished for any of his actions. Or whenever they think he's about to be punished, it just gets dropped right away. Except for the moments with the sharks are the better part of the film. That's where it feels like the movie should have been about them. And whenever the comedy does, it relies on all kinds of humor, pop culture, stereotypes, especially with the two annoying jellyfish characters. The references, the kids' film humor, and the fish puns, because remember, this is underwater. And these stereotypes were not funny, they were just annoying. And the pop culture references are so forced. There's plenty of references to R-rated films. There's references to The Godfather, obviously, because this is technically a mafia film, but imagine being a kid that doesn't know what The Godfather is because it's not a film for kids. And you guys know, The Godfather, right here, the hat I'm wearing. I love The Godfather. That's my number one favorite movie of all time. Hat there, poster there. As you all know that. There's quotes from Gladiator, which is also not a film for kids. Few Good Men, not a film for kids. Jerry Maguire, not a film for kids. Those are all rated R. And to ensure that kids are bored out of their minds, they still have the cute humor to make sure it's still a kids' film. This movie has no personality, too many bloody references of other films, pop culture, product placement with fish puns, animation that really feels so uncanny. It barely feels like it's not taking place underwater, which is why you could have just set this in the real world and you would literally miss nothing. The characters don't even act like fish either. It's another thing, like I've already said, Shark Tale's all flash, pretty colors, big name actors, too many pop culture references. Pretty on the surface, but it lacks underneath. Will Smith's character being a dumbass asshole. Too many shtick that becomes irritating and unfunny. And whenever he makes a choice, they're usually horrible choices that are just plain unsympathetic or sociopathic. So, once we get back to when Oscar bet all that money, Sykes reasonably meets up with him, finds out about that from the gold digger. He's reasonably annoyed at that, but somehow, he should, instead of just having him killed right away, he decides that he'll let the race go through. And of course, it seems like the seahorse is actually going to be succeeding and is going to win. It seems like everything's going smooth, but some weird reason, apparently the seahorse punches himself, but somehow underwater trips, which, they even reference that who trips underwater bit right there. So they pretty much point out their own flaw, how in the world would a seahorse punch themselves in the face and fall over? You're in the ocean. But then we can't have a movie. We need to have our lie reveal plot kick off some way. Yeah, this is how. From such a dumb flawed decision. And it reveals apparently the race was rigged. It was actually rigged against the horse. So the horse loses, and Sykes has finally had it, and this is what finally orders his two stereotype annoying jellyfish friends to punish Oscar, to basically having him killed. Yeah. he even literally announces that in a public arena. Yeah, announces that in a public place full of so many people. To have Oscar murdered, which people would hear in real life, in a horrible place to say that. Like, hell, like he's even below this. He's even below this kid that he pops a balloon of. So, wouldn't technically Sykes get arrested for saying that he's gonna have somebody killed in a public place, like a horse race? It makes no sense. Because if you announce that you're gonna kill somebody, you'd get arrested if people heard you. That's what would really happen, but somehow nobody hears this. And so Oscar's all bandaged up and thrown into a whale's mouth and then taken out to the reef to be murdered by the 2 jellyfish. And then we get to our shark characters where Don Lino is now starting to see Sykes was right. And finds out that Lenny's actually a vegetarian because he yells at him to stop trying to make him eat these shrimp, and he lets the shrimp go. And makes Frankie mentor Lenny. So Frankie and Lenny come across Oscar where him and the 2 jellyfish are, and when the 2 jellyfish see this, they flee. And so Lenny instead frees Oscar, tells him to escape, but Frankie then sees it because Oscar didn't leave, and he tries to charge at Oscar, but an anchor falls and literally kills him and bashes his neck. So Lenny is devastated, blames himself for his brother's death, and so the jellyfish go back to see Oscar with the dead shark, and they ask if he killed the shark, and he, of course, lies by taking credit for the murder and rises as the Shark Slayer. He goes to that penthouse he always wanted. Sykes somehow, despite the fact that this guy tried to kill him, apparently, like, Oscar's fine with him being his manager, despite the fact that he tried to have you killed out in the middle of nowhere. Would you really trust this? I'm surprised he would really trust this guy after earlier, but to be fair, I can see why Sykes would try to have Will's character killed, because to be fair, he is an asshole, annoying asshole. So I kind of wish Martin Scorsese's character did kind of kill him, to be fair, but somehow he doesn't, and somehow he's allowed to be his manager, but whatever. But he forgives his debt, which he really shouldn't, and then Don Lino, though, sees that Liz's son is missing, and so he wants to search for him and search for the Shark Slayer to have his revenge. Then Oscar encounters Lenny, who is aware of Oscar's lie, begs Oscar to let him hide at his place and avoid returning to his dad, as he fears he'll be blamed for the death. But Renee Zellweger's character then finds out about Oscar's lie, and she's going to tell everyone. And then goes to get this line, "Sharks are coming to get me," and they should, which, to be fair, I don't really like her character either, but I agree with her on that. They should come kill his ass. That's the one time I'm actually with her on that. But they managed to try to tell her to keep it a secret, though. So Oscar and Lenny stage this fight that involves Oscar fighting off Lenny and cement Oscar being the Shark Slayer and tricking the sharks thinking that Lenny's been killed too. That doesn't lead to any better things, because that just makes Don Lino more pissed off, and now Don Lino's just going to come after you more, so it's not really going to stop anything. Like, now the Shark Mafia is getting more pissed at you. Don Lino's going to probably come down and murder you now. He's already lost one son to your lie, and now it's going to look like you just killed his other son, the other one he has left. So you probably just pissed him off more into attacking the rest of the town. But then the gold digger Lola comes back, shows up, and kisses Oscar on camera. Angie is now all mad about this. And then, of course, and Lenny turns himself to a dolphin, even though dolphins are not vegetarians. And then Oscar and Angie get in this heated argument. I loved you before all the money, for the fame, despite the fact that this guy was not even a good person to begin with. He was already an asshole long before that. What good did you see in him? You were just coming off as being a simp for a guy that never returned your attention, constantly blew people's money, never pays them back. Bet the money from your dead grandmother's pearl on a racehorse. This guy was apparently such a great fit for you. No, this guy was already an asshole to begin with. How stupid are you? You are better off without him. There are plenty of better people you could be going after instead. But apparently this suddenly makes Oscar realize his selfishness from day one when we first meet him in the movie. And he sees that all the puns that he's now part of. And so then he dumps Lola, but this makes Lola mad and she beats him up. And even though Angelina's character is a gold digger in the movie, I don't care much for that because I hate Oscar more than her really as well. Oscar comes off worse in personality than Lola really does. And honestly, there's times when Lola even comes off so smarter than Oscar even remotely is. And so when the scene where she beats him up happens, I'm like, yeah, please beat the shit out of Oscar Angelina character because he sucks as a character. Please beat the shit out of him. I actually was rooting for her to beat him up. Yeah, she's a gold digger. Her character's a gold digger, but this is honestly a gold digger I'm rooting for at this point. Because Oscar's no better than her. And also, honestly, dumping actually also ends up leading to Renee Zellweger's character getting kidnapped. At this point, you hope the movie would strike funny bone for a lot of people, but because eventually it could be enjoyed by people of the mafia genre, but it doesn't. Shark Tale has little redeeming value, and when it just managed to try to muster up, it comes off as funny. And it's just a horrible film altogether. And even the star power doesn't even save it. These are fish that live in a pretty adult society, and there's just no good adult humor in the film. It's it barely comes off as enjoyable for kids or adults. How many toddlers would know what The Godfather is? How would they know what Gladiator is? How would they know what Jerry Maguire is? How would they know what Few Good Men is? They would not know what those films were till they became adults. Especially with the creepy animation. And the other thing about the storyline, that runs as deep as a pole because the movie's way too short to develop it. There's too much juvenile humor. And the more outside a story of the mob story, it got played out too many times, and many stories to really pique a lot of interest. Because, this is a film that's only, 89 minutes long, and they rush over a lot of stuff. You don't get any character development of the characters. Because the movie goes by way too damn quick to really kick in anything. Instead of, you could have taken the time, maybe actually try to make Will's character likable. Maybe have a few more scenes where he's actually a better person. And not acting like an ungrateful bastard. Because he doesn't have the life he wants. But you don't get that. You don't. So, now we get on with the also Bloody Rush finale. So, Oscar's going to try to go present Angie with some romantic gifts, despite the fact that she's probably not going to take him back. How do you know that's going to work? The only way, clearly the only way she would probably even think about taking you back is you finally admitting all your lies. But I don't think these gifts are going to be enough to woo her, dude. With the argument you had the previous night. But it finds out that, of course, because Lola went to the Sharks, she's been kidnapped as revenge for being dumped. And, and somehow Oscar is perfectly fine despite the beating he took. And Don Leo's going to eat Angie if Oscar does not give up his act and surrender at a sit-down. So him, Sykes, and Lenny go to the sit down, and that's when Sykes realizes, there was a scene before this when Sykes on the phone with Don Lino, and when Oscar tries to get him to shut up, he tells Don Lino to shut up, and Sykes has a flashback of that when he finds out Oscar's lie, which, that's the only other funny scene in the film. That's the thing. The only times the movie is funny, or when it's or when it's any scenes involving Martin's character or Robert's character, the shut up scene was one of the only times I got a chuckle out of that. Or what? You said what first? Or those are the only funny scenes of the whole film. This is why I wish the film was about those two characters, because they're the only funny parts of the film. And they're really the only few likable characters in the film. Lenny, I guess, would be decent, but he also plays along with Oscar's lies, so he also doesn't really come off as that good of a character, and is actually perfectly fine with this guy lying about your brother's death. And also, I wish his voice wasn't so annoying. So, but of course, the whole sit-down turns to a disaster because Oscar wastes too much time bragging and gloating at the Sharks with da-da-da-da-da-da-da, Kate Touchers, da-da-da-da-da-da. Kate Touchers is shut up and leave. Just shut up and leave and stop being more of a moron. If this is where you're supposed to redeem yourself, you're not even trying to redeem yourself. You're just making too much of a moron of yourself because Lenny throws up and ends up exposing himself and now thinking that Oscar turned his son against him. He goes after Oscar throughout the entire reef to the point where the chase ends with the whale wash. He accidentally traps Lenny there, but then ends up finally trapping Don Lino. And then everyone cheers for Oscar, but this is when he finally is supposed to redeem himself. I'm not a real shark slayer. I lied. And you think people would be pissed off to hear this, that he lied? No. Apparently everyone's happy about telling the truth, despite the fact that if I was one of the people that owned stuff like Coca-Cola or Gup, I'd be pissed off, because I just blew a bunch of money on a guy that basically lied about a person's death for his own amusement and fame. But then, of course, he urges Don Leo to respect Lenny's life, and Don Leo's regretful, reconciles with Lenny, and Oscar forsakes all the wealth he's required. Somehow he doesn't go to jail, somehow he doesn't go to court for using a bunch of brands and wasting their time, even though that would happen in real life. Like, there's even an alternate ending where that actually does happen, and no, I wish that was the ending. Because if you basically lied about something and then wasted a bunch of brands' time, I'm pretty sure they'd sue your ass. But no, apparently Oscar gets rewarded for all this. He wins Angie, who should have never taken him back at all, because he basically treated her like shit, lied to her face, and somehow she easily forgives him because he told the truth. I would not take this guy back. Just why? And he begins a romantic relationship with her and lives happy in the reef. He now manages the whale wash, and the sharks now visit it. What are the sharks going to eat now that they made peace with the reef? What are they going to eat? They can't eat the fish now. What, are they going to all become vegetarians or something? How are they going to survive? But there's a post-credit scene where Lola goes to the palace to apologize to Oscar, but obviously because he's not there, he doesn't live anymore. And then encounters this crab that we saw minor glimpses of throughout the film. They're waiting for her. So, this is thankfully the damn end of the movie. But this is how it really should have ended. Like, seriously, like, it should have ended with, oh, I don't know, Oscar going to jail, Don Lino still killing him regardless because technically he lied about his son's death, and then basically tried to brainwash his other son. Go to prison for 30 years for life for lying and wasting a bunch of Brand's time and stealing from them with a psychopathic lie. Angie never takes him back because he basically used her throughout the film and took her for granted, treated her like garbage. Like, there's a lot of Dreamworks films that often reward a lot of their unlikable leads who don't deserve their happy endings. Like, you know, the lead character in Trolls is never likable in any of the films, and I know it's probably going to piss off a certain crazy fan of Trolls who's going to probably see this, but somehow that character also gets rewarded for every single asshole thing she does in all three of those awful Trolls films. Or Barry Benson also, yeah, like from the last Dreamworks film I reviewed, oh yeah, he doesn't get any punish for almost putting the human species in danger and almost killing a lot of people and arresting random bystanders just for using honey. Or what else can I think of? Who else is unlikable? Or any of the Boss Baby films. So, do I even have good qualities with the film? Yeah. Robert and Martin's characters are the best parts of the film, and I wish the film was about them. Right there, and I wish we had more scenes of them acting together because I think they work well on screen. Right there, like, it was nice to see these two act in a film with one another, and actually kind of like have this whole argument with each other. Like, I wish we had a film about them, because I think they work well, and Robert De Niro's character is an example where I'm rooting for the villain over the asshole lead character because this guy really doesn't seem like that bad of a guy. To be fair, the guy just seems more grief-stricken, especially most of his villainy just gets caused by Will Smith's character. But other than those, fuck Shark Tale. Thankfully, this movie was forgotten and only remembered as DreamWorks' #1 worst film, and that's it. So in the end, yeah, I would avoid this fucking movie, just go watch Finding Nemo, because that's actually a good animated fish movie for a good reason. Anyways, instead of my rant on Shark Tale, you're running rank Shark Tale, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you want to see DreamWorks at their lowest, yeah, this is exactly this kind of movie, so trust me, go watch Finding Nemo instead. If we're running rank Shark Tale, I'm going to give Shark Tale a 3 out of 10. Alright, there we go, guys. that wraps up my review for Shark Tale. Now I want to know in the comments down below what you guys think about Shark Tale. Whether you're one of the few rare people that likes it, or one of the many DreamWorks fans that actually hates this movie like I do and a lot of other DreamWorks fans do. And until then, that'll be it for this rant. Thank you all for watching. If you like this, want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.